My name is Betty Sienda. I'm a Nairobi Waldorf Lavington parent. Jaya joined in 2016 when she was 2.5 years old, and we're still here. Right now, I'm the current board chair for the Board of Trustees, and my background is in finance. I've done corporate banking for a long time, and right now I am in the regional business development space. So I come with the expertise of finance to the Board of Trustees. So why Nairobi Waldorf for me was, first of all, the Rudolf Steiner education system is an age-based system. And that for me really stood out. It meant that we wouldn't rush the child to do the ABCs until the child was ready to do the ABCs. And that was very important for me. I'm a product of the confusion between 763 and 844. And I know the good parts of it and I know the bad parts of it. And they already have an older daughter who's gone through the 844. So I felt there was a gap because we are all, very theoretical. We're not practical. We're not allowed to do our arts. We happen to be very artsy, but we're not allowed to do that. So for me, that was important. And when I was coming to Nairobi Waldorf, there is something I was told by the administrator at the time. She was called Mary. And this is what she said. She said, if you do not participate fully in Nairobi Waldorf, then you will suffer. You'll always feel like you're behind the news. You'll always be running after the news. So I never really got the meaning of that until I engaged myself fully and immersed and realized, one, as a parent, I was also supposed to participate in classroom activities and classroom meetings. I was also supposed to engage in community engagement. And so by engaging in the community engagement, I got to learn the various phases of the Waldorf child. And I mean, the age-based, the heart, the hands, the will, the feeling, and the thinking and the logic, and understand how it plays a part in the child. So I would say if you are going to come into Waldorf, just don't go into classrooms, but you also have to go into the community engagement, attend meetings, attend AGMs, attend SGMs, anything that is there that you can add value to the community, engage in it. So that's why my reason for Nairobi Waldorf. So the first thing when I came into Nairobi Waldorf, I realized as a community, it's registered as a trust, and the trust is managed by parents of the school, and how they get to get into the governance is that they have to go and be voted in an annual general meeting. So the high level governance is done by a board of trustees, and the board of trustees are formed by a school. But in case they are looking for certain expertise that is not within the school, they are allowed to onboard a board member with a certain set of skills that the board would need. It's a voluntary position. It's not a paid position, and that's who runs the school. And then after the board of trustees, we have the management. And of course, after management, we have everybody else. So it's important to know that the school is run by a board of trustees who are actually parents that go through an election process to get into the governance. It's important. I feel there's some gray area there that people keep not knowing what exactly is, how does it form? Who are they? How do you get there? So just to clear on that. The school is guided by a vision, which is to nurture holistic beings. And this vision was created in 2019, and it was very, involving. It was a whole, everybody was engaged in bringing up the vision, the mission, and the value systems. We have a mission, which is to be the leading inspirational school in Kenya by nurturing through Waldorf education balanced and free individuals who are capable of critical, creative, and flexible thinking. Now, what I love the most about the values of the school, because these really speak to the Waldorf way of being. And the values are reverence, which actually is about nurturing a deep respect for individuals and our connection to the world around us. Imagination, of course, would be cultivating the creative imagination minds of our students. And I also think in part our parents, because if you have a creative student, the parent has to be involved. Inventiveness, which is inspiring thoughts and action through innovative means. Freedom, encouraging individuals while maintaining personal responsibility. I mean, we can be free, but we also have to be to practice reverence. I like the way the two are entwined, and of course, diversity, embracing and appreciating our differences. And those are values that are embodied in the school, and I think also embodied by the parents. Because I mean, for the school to come, it's a community school. For us to do the values, you can't do them in one space and not do them in the other. So it's important for them to be all-rounded. So I would encourage parents and the community at large to really embody our values. It's important to remember that we need, to nurture a deep respect for each other. The school originally we are one unit, which is Nairobi Waldorf School Trust, with 2 campuses. We had a Lavington campus and we had a Miotoni campus. Now we have 3 campuses. We have Miotoni, Nandi Road, and Lavington. Before we got here, I think it's good to say just a bit about the genesis. Lavington was created as a kindergarten only, as a feeder to the current primary school. But what would happen is that as a kindergarten, it wasn't able to sustain itself financially. The numbers would not make it for it to be a sustainable institution. So the lower primary had to be introduced. And please remember, this is a school that is growing, that owns no land. We didn't own land in Lavington, neither did we own land in Karen. Neither did we have long-term leases. We always would have a yearly lease to go with it. So to make it sustainable and holistic, and really honestly, for the numbers to make sense, Lavington had to grow to the lower primary. And initially, the lower primary was supposed to grow up to class 3, but now it's grown up to class 5. But it's not sustainable beyond class 5. Why? Because of the system. The system evaluates, and I'll tell parents to just go and understand the curriculum, and the community at large, understand the curriculum and understand what happens when children reach class 6 and the kind of specific needs they have for upper primary needs going into high school. So let's go to Karen. So Karen was our parent campus, and we would give away our kids at class 8. We didn't have a high school. So several things had to happen. Rudolf Steiner says that the system has to cater for the 1 to 7 years old for the wheel, which is the hands, the 8 to 14, which is the heart, or what we call the feeling, and then the 14 to 21, which is what we call the logic or thinking. Now, we were reaching 14 years and letting those kids go. So we had to take the children to high school because we needed to make sure that this is a proper Waldorf system. I mean, a system that, caters for the whole child until the child is an adult. So that meant getting a high school. Now, we are getting a high school. What getting a high school is also about expansion of facilities. So in comes 2 things. 1, getting a long-term lease for Karen, and 2, getting a long-term lease for Lavington, or what the longest lease we could find, and then improving on facilities, both in Lavington and in Karen. Now, we are a school that has always, we get an income in school fees, and we consume it in operations. So we need to create something that will sustain us in the long run. And a development fund will sustain both Lavington campus and current campus in the long run. When we have to do development, because you will always find there is time to do development, we don't have to go back running to parents to tell them, please remove money from your pocket. We are long-term thinkers because we have a long-term plan and we are planning for it. So in came the introduction of the development fund. Now, the development fund is for the school in general. If you walk around, and I hope people have had the opportunity to walk around our campuses, there's constant development going on in our campuses. Could be Lavington, could be Nandi, could be Miotoni. And all these developments, we can only fund them from the operational expenses for a certain long time. So we needed to create a fund that would cater for the school to be able to go into development. Now we have a Nandi Road campus. We need to be able to create classes so that we can move all the campus for Karen into one campus. We need to grow this campus. The current budget for it is at 135 million. So we needed to be we've tried to raise as a school the funds that we can, but we needed to be able to be sustainable over the long run. That is why the development fund was introduced. Now, how does it work? The development fund is for existing families who were there before September 2022. I get to pay 30,000 once off. Any new child coming in from September 2022 and going forward will have to pay a development fee of 30,000. It is once off. We also have understood that our parents are pressed. And this is a long-time thing. So we are not telling them it is instant. It is money that they can pay over the year, the academic year of 2022-2023. But come September 2023, we are hoping all our parents would have finished paying the development fund, because we need to be able to say we can transition. We need to be able to say we can finish our construction. So I'm calling to the whole community, and it's a call out of action to the community, to the parents, to everybody else who wants to be part of this wonderful journey of Nairobi Waldorf Trust, to come in and engage with us and engage in the school and contribute in the best way they know how. In a community, it is very hard to say that you will finish building something because I contributed school fees or I contributed the development fund and that's it. Nobody should talk to me. It's a community. This school is community driven. So I'm asking parents, up and above paying the development fund, and you feel generous, remember our values of, reverence, respecting, and wanting to be left here for a long time. I would tell you to please go ahead and make pledges for the fundraising. We have a big bill to pay, and we are urging people from the kindness of their heart to just come in and, contribute towards it. Go to Tom, see the finance office, make a pledge. Let us build this school together. Let us leave a legacy in our names for our children and their children and their children and their children. Children will learn through observing us. So come out, bring your wallet, be generous, and pledge.